post for another week here at the Moseley. I'm joined by Jad Gosson. Welcome, mate.
Yes, happy to be here. Very excited once again, and a different location, a beautiful location, right on the beach.
You get a better intro than that. It's Jadzilla. He's a commentator. He's an analyst of Division 7.
That's right.
Oh, yes. He is a purple belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and he is the Dulwich Kindergarten Best Beard Competition winner. He does it all, Jad, but where were you yesterday?
I'm not sure that's true. If you see me out there, I'm not a jiu-jitsu expert. I mean,
They might just start grappling you. Hey, where were you yesterday, mate? Which
I was
game?
at Athelston versus St. Peter's, so yeah, definitely a big game in terms of the context of ladder, but we'll get more into that later.
Yeah, so obviously you're here to do, tell me what you're going to be involved in today, mate.
Yeah, so looking at the Div 1, of course, What Court RY, and Division 7, my favourite division up there. So yeah, it'll be good to analyse that properly. We did a little bit of a mini dive a few weeks ago, but this one's a bit more deeper.
Beautiful, and of course, because you're in the studio, Coach of the Week will come from Division 7.
Yes.
Of course, we've got Marks of the Week, Goals of the Week, all our usual segments, all that and so much more on...
Between the Posts.
And it's that time of the week again. I'm joined by Jad Gosson. It's BTR Excavation Division 1 wrap. Of course, at the Moseley today. Beautiful Moseley for the first time this year, Jad. And we'll start off at the stream team. We've got to, don't we?
Yes.
The stream team yesterday was at the Hawks' Nest of Salisbury North, taking on Sacred Heart. It was Salisbury North 12-13-85. Sacred Heart 6-7-43. Chief destroyers for the Hawks, Johansson with 3 and O'Brien and Wilson both kicked 2, whilst all singles for Sacred Heart, except we're going to have a very quick look at an absolute brilliant goal. Chief Dunstall wouldn't have liked it, but this dribble kick turned a corner. Captain of Sacred Heart, let's have a look at Clayton Simons.
Field goes to Galotto, quick punch out the back, smart work to Simons, beat pushed forward, goes the grubber, has it got the carry? Clayton Simons with a cliffer.
Yeah, great goal there, and of course one of the State League representatives played very well that game as well. And I heard he got a bit of an injury or soreness or something.
He certainly had a knock at the end of the game. Hopefully he'll be right for next week's game. He's a real important cog in the Sacred Heart machine, Clayton. So yeah, wish him all the best in his recovery. Just looking at the margins throughout the day, Salisbury North didn't lose a quarter. It was they led by 14, 14, 30 and 42. Reading some of Matty Gale and Nathan Woods' notes, who did a great job in commentary yesterday. 6 goals to do in the second half when the game was up for grabs was really important. And they described the weather as filthy. So interesting to note that there. Look, it was actually a pretty high standard of football, despite the fact, especially the first half, it was raining the whole time. Cleaned up a bit in the second half, but a good result for the Hawks. Crucial result that sees them lock away 4th now. You've seen both these two teams. Jad, what's been your take on them so far this year?
Yeah, for sure. So Salisbury North now trying to bridge the gap. We'll talk about the ladder a bit later, but they look to have a bit of a rhythm. You can kind of guess which games they're going to be in, and it's basically all of them. So yeah, they're looking.
Haven't lost a home game.
Yeah, they're looking good, and yeah, I didn't know that stat. But that's a great stat because that just shows that it's a hard place to go, and any team going there would know that stat, and it could be a mental edge as well for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Play it very well at home. It is a big ground, and despite yesterday's horrible conditions and huge piles of water around the oval, the actual surface itself, excellent condition. Credit to the Salisbury Council. So let's look at some of those better players that don't make the votes for Sacred Heart. Sanderson, Oates and Hildyard was very good. Darcy Gloyas, they list him as the workhorse, and Beau McRae was very good. Got a chance to meet Beau McRae's dad on the weekend. He was at the luncheon at half time. Of course, we all call him the Bone Crusher. His nickname is actually Snowy. So there you go. Yes, I'd suggest it is. But a lovely family, and he's got a brother that plays as well. So not always nice to meet the opposition committee and all that. Better players for Salisbury North, I should remember their name, who don't make the votes. Jamie Jones continues a wonderful year at fullback. Big Bob Russo, I think he's the best ruckman in the comp on form at the moment. And the return of Jaden Hall and Nick Stokes was crucial to the Salisbury North structures. But the best on-ground votes, Jad, you're going to give them to us, please, mate.
Yeah, so number 1 is Joy O'Brien, another one of those State League players, played very well as well.
Yep.
Louis McLennan as well. Cool as a cucumber.
That's what Matt Gale says, yes.
Did you hear him from the boundary saying that?
No, that was in the notes that we get sent. So.
And Jakey Johansson, very crafty as well, so thank you for the notes. And another big 3 points there for Johansson.
Yeah, and he kicked 3 goals and 3 really quality goal assists. Real connector coming up playing high half forward there. So good job by Jakey. Okay, let's look at our next one. Tea Tree Gully and Roxton. I said if it was wet, they could win. And it was wet till half time and they were winning. Or they were nearly winning. But it was Tea Tree Gully 5-13-43. You got to kick straighter than that to beat Ross Trevor. 10-8-68. Same amount of scoring shots. Rocks by 25 points. Goal kickers McCormick and Wakeland with 3 for Ross Trevor. And Persinos kicked a couple for Tea Tree Gully. The margins throughout the day were 14, 3, 33 and 25. It was that 5-3 to 3 points in the third quarter where Ross Trevor are just too good. But I think we've got a Cowboys call, haven't we, Jad?
Yeah, that's right. A new addition and a nice alliteration there. Cowboys call. Finn Wakeland in the second quarter with a beautiful goal. Watch it here.
Footy cameramen doing the great work as Wakeland just trots in. He's a long way out. He's right on the 50. Scissor action. I tell you what, he's made it though. That is a huge kick by Wakeland. He's kicked 2 today like that. That's his 3rd.
Yes, of course, Cootsie on other duties this week, so good luck to him. But the Cowboy, Tony Neal, giving us one there. His notes talked about how it was a tough, hard game of football, as you'd expect, between these two teams. Yeah. The ball use in transition that Ross Trevor had, a couple of end-to-end goals, was absolutely crucial. But Tea Tree Gully had their chances. It was in the second quarter, 2 goals 7 to 1 goal 2. Yeah. We've said this in Div 1, you can't have a quarter where you kick 2-7, 1-9, whatever. It bites you on the bum because the other teams have got such... They're all so clinical in when you give them their lick of the ice cream, as Matt Garr would say.
Yeah, for sure. That's the first thing I noticed when I looked at that score, the 13 behind, and really killed them on the day. And, you know, to go to Potaringa for Ross Trevor and to win in a bit of a muddy, wet day, they'll be happy with that result. I think it's not the easiest place to go, no matter how Tea Tree Gully are tracking. So yeah, Ross Trevor found a way to win and Tea Tree Gully got a kick straight.
No, I don't think anyone's ever said going to Tea Tree Gully is easy. Better players who don't appear in the vote for Tea Tree Gully. Great to see Brody Latham named best, back in the best players, back playing footy. A super footballer who I think could actually play even higher than Div 1. Noah Hyde and Chris Olsen, another state rep, just continuing his good form. And the coverage and ruck efforts of Blake Tickets Penny as well was noted by the commentators. For us, Trevor, those Baldwin boys are both good footballers, both keep appearing in the best players, Murata and Bradford. But Jad Gosson with our Player of the Year votes, please.
Yeah, so the 3-2-1. Number 1 actually coming from Tea Tree Gully, it's Liam Grubb. So congrats to him. Finn Wakeland with the 2 and Connor Butcher for 3 points.
Yeah, great 4-quarter effort there from Connor Butcher. Now, mate, this is where you earn your money because you are one of our great commentators out there in filming footy land. And yesterday you were at Max Amber, and a good place to commentate, great place to watch footy. It's a beautiful venue, isn't it?
Yeah, great venue. Everyone was nice as well, and it was the crowd. The pitch was muddy in some places. You expect there's a little bit of a pool, but other than the centre area, it was not too bad.
Yeah.
And, it didn't really rain much where we were at anyway. Maybe a little bit in the first half, but it was pretty dry in terms of the actual rain coming down. But we'll run through the game quickly. So first 20 minutes was all St. Peter's. They were dominating. They just couldn't hit the score, but I think they kicked 1-3 or something like that.
Yep.
And then after the 20-minute mark of the first quarter, they went 4 goals in a row for Athelston and took the lead coming into quarter time. St. Peter's, to their credit, in the second quarter did very well. They went on a run of their own. The momentum changed hands a few times. The lead changed a few times. They were 4 points up at halftime were the Spock, and it was always going to be tricky still, even with a 4-point gap. Athelston came hard, another momentum switch. They took the lead again to 20 points-ish up during the third quarter, and that was basically the margin at the end of the game. They just found a way to stay in front. Plenty of good performers around the ground. It was hard to pick a best on just because there were so many consistent performers, as well as the style of play, as you expect, a bit congested, a bit frantic, but some really good defending from Athelston. They were organised in defence, and they've got a lot of goal kickers. It took until I think this late in the third for anyone to kick more than 1 goal. They just had a bunch of different goal kickers.
Nice little segue there. We'll jump on those. Russell with 3, Kalen Santillo with 2, along with Griggy for 2. Yep. Whilst Nicky Michaels always tends to hit the scoreboard, he did that with another 2. Now, in my study, I didn't read your notes too hard because I knew you were coming in. Yeah. I noticed that to one end of the ground, I'm not sure which end it was, Athelston kicked 7-4 to 1-4. Was that down?
The left side, yep.
If you're looking from where you're coming, the left side, which tends to be the scoring end. Was there a breeze at all, or just?
Not particularly. No, we're discussing it during the call, me and Dylan Crichton, and all the goals were going one way. Weren't sure why, but I don't know if that's unusual there. But it was quite unusual, and we were coming to the last quarter. We're thinking if it stays the same, Spock might pinch a few and win here, but Athelston held on.
Yeah, the way the scores read, like looking at them not being at the game, it looked like there was a solid breeze, but yeah, not necessarily because there was rain. I've got a bit of a highlight though. You were there.
Yes.
But it's a Jag Meat Week snag of the day. Is that man Chris Lodovici from the Raggies.
Forward again through Greg. He usually finds a target. That time, one of his worst kicks I've ever seen, but still gets a forward in any sense. And now can they find a way forward? Lodovici with the right foot snap. He loves it. And Lodovici with another one. That's 3 in a row for Athelston. Again, against momentum. Kicking 3 in a row, who would have thought?
Alrighty, Jad, let's have a look at those players who don't make the votes, but certainly their coaches were happy with their performance. So for Athelston, Nurton, McDonald, Murray and Theodorakopoulos. That's right, I nailed it. Whilst for Spockies, McKinnon, Nelligan, De Cesare, sort of business as usual there, those guys regularly appearing in the best players. Yep. But who did you give the votes to for Player of the Year, mate?
Yeah, for me, I went Carruthers with the one just off half back, another state representative, just spraying the ball left and right in a good sense, as in hitting his targets left and right. For 2, Jackson Boss, he was unreal in defence, very solid down there. Him and Murray, who made the best votes. It was tough between those two to pick them because they were both unreal back there. Matt Murray, I called him Eminem, so...
that was very good.
Love to see those two defenders. They look solid. They might not be the first names on the team sheet that draw your eye, but they did their job all afternoon. And the 3 votes, Jed Russell did the 1% as well, came up the ground, took crucial marks. If he doesn't mark it, often brings it to ground and kicked 3 goals. But I think even if he didn't kick a goal, he might be in the 3 votes for me.
Yeah, no, beautifully done there. Thank you, mate. Let's move on to the next one. Yeah, it's not good reading. But a little bit, I'll just give you the score. PNU 3-3-21, Golden Grove 19-21, 135. That's a 114-point margin for Golden Grove. And something has happened here that's never, ever happened before in Adelaide Footy League. What is that?
They've lost by the same margin 3 weeks in a row?
114. No one's lost by the exact same margin, more than 100 points in any division ever, 3 weeks in a row. That is insane. Now, if someone can look that stat up and prove me wrong, I'll give you a Sam Doman stubby holder. So look, not great for Payneham, but again, young team, they're fighting out every week and they're having a crack. It was only 3 goals at quarter time, so they were in the fight early, but Golden Grove 6 goals to none in the second and in the third, I think 6 goals to 1. For PNU, goal kickers Sparknell, Kleinig and young Cooper Burrows. Again, great signs, 17, 18-year-old Cooper Burrows, 6'4". A full year in Div 1 is only, they talk about getting games into the kids. He's going to be a super footballer, just like his dad was. His dad's a 2-time male medalist, so I look forward to seeing his development. But you got to give Golden Grove their flowers. They were too good again. The Pascoe party bus with 7. I'm not sure about that. Lenny Pascoe with 7. Cav with 6. He's as dangerous as anyone in this league. And De Soto, who's made his way from the B grade when I last saw him, but he kicked 2. So. Well done by him. It was a mud bath in the middle. It was one-sided. Kookaburra's passing and ability to run to space made for great connection. They're a very well-drilled unit and they played some sublime footy. You've had a chance to commentate them so far this year, haven't you, mate? Tell me your thoughts on the Kookaburras.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I think I discussed it last time on the show, but no one really expected too much from them this year, and they've almost just said it's the same as 2025. They just continued on basically where they left off, despite losing a few players here and there. But yeah, they've been professional. That's a good win, obviously, for them, and they're one to watch going through. And yeah, for Payneham, as you mentioned, a young team there, and I keep hoping they're going to get a win. Hopefully, they do find a way to sneak a victory. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Yeah,
it's going to be a tough year for Payneham. Much like it was for Broadview last year, but sometimes obviously they haven't gone out and spent a lot of money, so. There's a bit of short-term pain for long-term gain. Great junior program. They'll bring them through. They've done this before, had to reinvent themselves from exiting Div 1. They generally do it very well. Yeah. As for Golden Grove, they're 7-1. They're 4 points clear, 4 percentage points clear. You suggest they're almost a lock for a double chance. They are going to be there when the whips are cracking. There's no doubt about it. So, better players who don't make the votes. Let's start with PNU boys. They deserve, some of these guys who front up every week deserve a mention. So Mazzino, Kleinig, the big tree, Munzberg. It's great to see the return of Dylan Pippett from his hammy, which is good. Dill Fry. And the best looking man on ground was Matthew Di Virgilio. Whilst for Golden Grove, those that don't make the votes, Thatcher and Horskins were very good, but as you wouldn't be surprised, all the votes go to Golden Grove players.
Yeah, so Pittman with the 1. Pascoe with 2 votes. He got 4 goals, 2 in the first quarter, and 1 out of the full. So
the commentator chat was popping off, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, here we go.
Lucky Matty Gay wasn't on that game. Might have had a heart attack. And Cavallaro with the 3 votes. So yeah, of course, those names fire. You usually win.
Yeah, no, well done, mate. Right, let's move on to the Port Glenunga game, and I'll take your love that Matt Gale has for Pascoe, and I'll double it when I talk about Tommy Dawes' love for the Grey Boys. Oh my God. Yeah, it's there, it's real. When it was Port District, I said this would be closer than it was. I reckon Glenunga, gee, they could have snatched this nearly. Port District 8-4, great kicking, 52. Glenunga 6-11, 47. 5 more scoring shots, got done by 5 points. They'll be hurting. But it was a big last quarter comeback. So for Port District, Shepherd with 4 and Gray with 3. Just the 3 goal kickers in total. That was Tom Gray. Whilst for Glenunga, Wonky kicks 2, as did Davis. The margins throughout the day were 7-14. They were up by 26 at 3-quarter time, Port, and they probably thought, oh yeah, no problems here. They only kicked 1 point in the last quarter, and Glenunga kicked 3 goals for. Abe Davis put the team on the back, nearly got them over the line, but it wasn't quite to be, mate. Now, you've seen Port this year. Are they foxing? Or what's your read on it? They're 5.5 wins. They're sitting third, so they're in a great position. Are they saving something for September, or they are a tough team to actually read, Port District, at the moment?
Yeah, they are tough to read. It's one of those ones where they don't always play the best, but they're finding ways to win, and that's almost a sign of a champion team. They've got players out, different injuries in Europe, things like that. So it'll be interesting to see once they all come back. Once September, you can smell September coming. I think they'll be all firing.
Smell it in the air.
Yeah, so it's one of those ones where they're not playing the best, but they're finding ways to win, and I guess that's most important when it comes to this stage of the season.
I think the problem the rest of the competition have got, and the advantage that Port District have, is you could say, as an example, with Golden Grove, if you take Pascoe and Pittman out, I think there's real problems. With Salisbury North, you take, say, Bob Russo, Geordie O'Brien, Jaden Hall out, problems. With Port District, there's such strong depth in that B grade and the C grade that there's a lot of soldiers to step up. Now, I mean, obviously they've been covering Scott Lysette at the moment. I just think they've probably holistically got everyone covered in that sense. But at the moment, Golden Grove and Rocks are probably just sitting there going, that's right, Javor, keep underestimating us because we're sitting above them, and we'll see how that plays out. Looking at the commentators' notes, as I said, Davis was huge. He nearly got his boys over the line. But yeah, it wasn't quite to be. A tough contested game that was solid all day. Let's have a look at a pretty good goal. This is with a 5-point margin, turned out to be huge. This is Tommy Gray on the 3-quarter time siren.
Holmes board comes up just below us there. About how long to go? Can't quite see. Well, there it is. We're on the siren. Tommy Gray to bring the absolute house down. Tommy Gray got it! And the fans do the talking, and that might be goal of the day so far.
Bit of players that don't appear in the votes. Abe Davis, Kernahan, left footer there, playing down back. Big Westy, Zach Smith, and Mr. Boom Shakalaka, Jack Matchett. Whilst for Port District's Modistach, the Hef, Bernell Jackson continues a very consistent season. Maybe doing very well in there. Best and fairest, I'd suggest, and Zach Rose. But the vote getters, please, Mr. Gosson.
Yeah, so 1, 2, Tom Gray. Number 2, 2 votes for Tom Kalovidis. Kalovidis says work ethic here, so well done to him. And not 50 Shades of Grey, but 2 Shades of Grey. Sam Gray with the 3 votes.
Yes, and when Sam Gray gets the ball, Tommy Dawes gets excited. Anyway, all good. Hey, let's have a look now, mate. It's time to move on. Before we look at next week's games, we'll start with the ladder. Always interesting reading. And we've got the 2 teams sitting 7-1 in Ross Trevor and Golden Grove. As we've mentioned, Port 5.5 wins, Salisbury North 5 wins, and then it gets very interesting from 5th through to 9th, doesn't it, Jad?
Yeah, there's a lot of half points in this one. Athelston 4.5, Sacred Heart 3.5, and then 2.5 for both St. Peter's and Glenunga, also 2.5. 5 losses in a row for St. Peter's, so sliding a little bit, but I think they'll find a few wins later on. Teacher Gully sitting in 9th, 2.5 as well, so 3 teams with 2.5, and at the bottom is Payneham.
Yeah, so there might just be a small little gap opening between top and bottom, and this week's games will be incredibly important for that. All right, let's look at some of those goal kickers to make this segment. Now you need to kick 14 or more, so I'll start all those with 14. With 6 on the weekend, Cavallaro from Golden Grove with 14. Jet Boxer from Ross Trevor with 14. Tom Gray from Port District on 14. Nick Michaels, consistent. St Peter's on 14 with 15 goals. Finn Wakeland from Ross Trevor. Pete Pistol Personos with 15. Nick Wunke and Steph Lanzoni. Reese Mooney rounding out. With 17 goals, we've got Gav Shepherd from Port District and Ant Hellabout. But the two on top of the table, Jad, are...
Yeah, so in second place, Luke Randa didn't kick a goal yesterday despite Athelstan's good win. And on top is that man Pasco, of course, another massive bag there. It sits on 36 goals already for the season.
Yeah, I think the goal kicking trophy might just be his. This week's games are all huge every week, and this is the end of this brings us to the halfway mark. So this is where you get it's a real solid snapshot of where we are and where we're going. We'll start with Glenunga and PNU at Webb Oval.
Yeah, I'll tip Glenunga for that one.
Yeah, I think Glenunga will be too strong, and they absolutely need to win. And you'd say, they've had a draw. Percentage is huge when there's 6 teams with draws, so they need to win, and they need to win well. Golden Grove and Athelston, mate. It should be a very good game.
Yeah, these two always go at it hard. I'm tempted to go Athelston after watching it, but it might be a bit of recency bias. I'll go Golden Grove.
Yeah, I'll take Golden Grove. Some interesting, mouth-watering matchups in the middle.
Yeah.
Will Grigg go to Pittman? Who mans up on Zantillo, who's been sensational this year? And if Athelston can get on top in the middle, they can win this game of footy, but you can't really tip against Golden Grove with the way they're tracking at the moment. St Peter's, you've said it a couple of times, mate. They've lost 5 in a row. Can they get their first win in 6 weeks against Tea Tree Gully at home?
Yeah, I back them to win. I think they'll be good, St Peter's. They've got a lot of passionate supporters there at the ground. They're sitting right next to us, very loud. Hopefully get a win for them, but it won't be easy, but I could see them winning.
I'll tell you what's on the line. The loser of this game will be in the relegation zone, and they'll be in the relegation zone by a game and percentage. So you don't want to drop this one. Season-defining game. Toss of a coin job. Absolute toss of a coin job.
Yeah.
I want to say Tea Tree Gully, but at home I'll say St Peter's. Okay, the stream team game the stream team game this week is Ross Trevor hosting Salisbury North, former Div 2 grand final opponents. It's Ross Trevor sitting second, Salisbury North sitting fourth. Should be a very good contest.
I'll go for a bit of upset here. I'll go for Salisbury North. I think I'd like to tip a little bit different than you, not just all go the same. So I'll go for them and keep you happy.
Hey, I'm tipping Ross Trevor. Look, it's just it's hard because I'm at Salisbury North, but Ross Trevor deserve to be favourites because they're 7-1 and they're at home and playing good footy, and I like their team. Unfortunately, I like the opposition. Hope you're all right. Hope I'm wrong. That should be a very good contest.
Totally.
And last but not least, Sacred Heart will be looking to bounce back, taking on Port District at home. Nearly knocked them off last year at home, so can they do it?
They could. I'm still picking Port just because I almost can't tip against them. They find a way to win. I think they'll do it again. Again, they're not going amazingly so far this season, but it's still hard to pick against them.
Yeah, it's funny we say they're not going amazingly. They're sitting third, 5.5 wins. It's pretty
For
tight.
their
You don't win the flag in June.
Yeah.
So I'll take Port District as well. Thanks for joining us on the Division 1 wrap. Thank you for joining me, mate. And do you know where you are next week?
I believe I'm at the Golden Grove Athelston game. I've got to double check, but hopefully I'm at that game because that's looking like a tasty one.
Yeah, it'll be a very good game. They're all good games though. We'll be back next week with more Division 1. I reckon it's my favourite segment. It's the Bianco Mark of the Week, thanks to Born to Build. And didn't we have a beauty last start? Look, it was a standout winner for mine. I actually nominated this one with a little assistance from Lisa Mann. But it's Tea Tree Gully high flyer Tommy Takano with a real candidate for Mark of the Year.
Oh my God!
Holy!
Now, the producer, Jack Jonathan, has been up all Sunday night. He looks for these marks all night long, but he needs your help. So quite simply, send them in to Jack at Filming Footy. Get them in and get your club nominated. Speaking of nominations, we've got three this week. You can vote with your corresponding emojis.
And he probably shouldn't have. Logan Rose came in hard. Probably should have got one across the cheeks. Play on calls the umpire. Shepherd's in the spot. Takes a ripper.
It's time for What Caught Our Eye. Brought to you by Sam Doman and Co. Jad, once again, I took the time because we had a week off to preview what I thought would be the best game of the round. So that's my What Caught Our Eye, and I've built on it because so much good stuff did catch my eye across the 7 divisions. Do you want to take the new ball in Div 7?
Yeah, for sure. So Div 7, what caught my eye immediately was Smithfield's first win.
The Pants!
Congratulations to them. I interviewed them at the start of the year. They were optimistic. They had a good group of players there. Coaches are all keen for the season and happy to see them get that win. Bailey Thompson, 6 goals, and Josh Sewer with 3 goals. And now every team has a win and every team has a loss. So it's good to see in Div 7.
I think we're going to really take a nice solid deep dive on the Panther. Panther TV will be running hot this week, and shout out to the Heinz Unga boys who were fantastic in the win. Yeah. But the game I looked at, because I didn't see that result coming, the game I looked at was the 2nd versus 4th battle. It was absolutely crucial, and it's created a bit of a ladder shift too. It was Century United 13-10-88, too good for the Hackham Hawks 11-9-75. Well, when you talk about Hackham, you have to talk about that man, Luke Allen. Always in the best players. He's a super player. He was their best. But it was Hudson Cluse, the former Central District Junior, who was fantastic, and Isaac Poole, who's been a recruit a couple of years ago. Lightning fast, good skills, very good footballer. Piddington with 4. So that actually pushed Hackham out the 5. But as you said, we've got Div 7 today, so we'll have a real good look at Div 7. Can't wait.
Yeah, for sure. For me, in Division 6, I noticed 3 of the 4 games were won by 13 points or less. So another one of those close divisions.
Yeah.
And a lot of movement there just based on a couple goals changes the whole thing.
Yeah, close, and it's tightened right up because we thought Gazer by how far, but the game I thought I'd look at was like, well, if anyone's going to challenge you to be Elizabeth, and oh boy did they. It was at Clemsick Oval, and it was Gazer 10-10, Elizabeth 12-10. What makes this even more impressive is Gazer was actually up at 3/4 time by 9 points. You know, a team that's been belting everyone, they're up by 9 points, but in the final quarter it was 2-2 to 5-4 to get Elizabeth the chocolates. Luke Stevens was Gazer's best, and you think, oh, well, when you look at Elizabeth, it's going to be Clinton bulk goals and Glenn will be best, but no, it wasn't. It was Wade Parsons who was named their best player, so good signs for Elizabeth. Maybe, Div 6 has got a little bit more life than we thought.
Yeah, that was a good sign to see. Moving on to Division 5, Fitzroy upset by 5 points over Salisbury to further the gap from the bottom 2 to the rest. And just a quick bonus one, Ryan Clark, I should say, top goal scorer, 40 goals in 8 games, but Stephen Clark second with 32 goals in 4 games for Greenacres. So
72 for the Clark boys.
Yeah, Greenacres are on top, I believe, and not just that, but have the top 2 goal scorers, so they're flying.
Yeah, watch out for the Green Lakers. All right, the game I looked at in Division 5 was actually 10th versus 7th, believe it or not, because I thought this is Portland's chance to get a win this year. Could they? No, they couldn't. It was Portland 11-5, again, good offensively, 71, but Kenilworth 21-10, 142, a commanding win there. For Portland, it was Jakey Need bobbing up again with 4, obviously former AFL player, still very skilled and talented, and Walter Wilson was their best, whilst for Kenilworth, there was one man that was simmering, and that was James Simmering with 7 goals. Thanks, mate. At least laugh at it. And Matty Crompton was their best. So well done to the Kookaburras. Just starting to get a little bit of, they're just starting to get the wings going a little bit, maybe making a bit of a move. So certainly outside of moving well away from the relegation zone now. Div 4, mate.
Div 4, yeah. For me, I noticed, and congrats to Pulteney for their 2nd win of the season against Colonel Light Garda. So yeah, good to get a 2nd win there and see if they can do anything in terms of moving out the bottom 2. But a good win nonetheless.
Absolutely. There was 2 games I felt I needed to look at this week in what caught our eye in Division 4. The first one was CBC sitting 4th, 5-2, taking on 5th place Scotch 4-3. Where did they lie? Well, Scotch caused the upset. CBC 10-7-67. Scotch, very accurate kicking, 15-3-93. You won't lose a lot of games with 15-3-93. But there's a bigger story. Maxi Marsden leading the entire competition, every division, every grade, with goals. Bagged 10. 10 on a wet day out of 15-3 means he was efficient, he was good, and clearly best man on the ground. Shout out to Jack Strange from CBC. The other one was a game that you've touched on already.
Yeah.
It was 9th versus 10th, both 1 and 6. Both expected to probably do a lot better than this, especially Pulteney, who I tipped to make the grand final. But it was tight, it was tough. It was a 7-point margin to the Blues. Connor Fairley was best. I think it might be Dave Fairley's boy from Colonel Light. But the Fresh Prince, Braden de Prince, was the big man, former state under-23 ruckman, was Pulteney's star. So well done to the Blues. Always good in the second half of the year. Maybe they make a move now. Who knows?
Awesome. Yeah, for Division 3, following my theme from a little bit earlier, 4 games decided by 17 points or less. So just under that 3-goal margin was, 4 games decided by again, just minimal distance, and that could again shape the ladder in the coming weeks and months.
Absolutely, and one of those games was not just the one I was previewing, it was my grand final prediction back in February.
Wow.
Was Seaton and Foss. They sit first and fourth, and it was Seaton proving too good. Seaton 14-5-89, Foss 11-13-79, a 10-point win despite having 5 less scoring shots. So you say, was it tight, was it tough? It probably was, but at lemon time or 3/4 time, Seaton did lead by 38 points, so they had the game in control. Wolford and Warren were the best, while Gilly bobbed up for 4. For Foss Camden, Harry Francis continues his very strong season this year. Div 2, mate, I've got so much stuff on Div 2 because it was one of those, every game caught my eye because I was like, I can't believe, it was one of those type viewings. What do you have,
I
Frank?
agree, yeah, I have a few points. I'll just go run through it. Unley Mercedes Jess, their second win of the season, so another one getting more than one win, similar to some of the other themes I've got in other divisions. And there's an obvious one, but there was another draw, which is always crazy to see how many draws we've had in the Adelaide Footy League A grade, and yeah, another one in Div 2. I think there's been a couple there.
Yes, Flinders Park 6-15, Westminster 7-9. You'd say Flinders Park left one out there. Interestingly as well, Flinders Park now, that's 2 draws for the year for Flinders Park. Wow. That's cray. Yeah. And that's either going to, whether it's relegation or finals, it's going to affect them in some way, absolutely. So dangerous signs there for Reds. That's 3 draws in 8 rounds in Division 2, A grade. 3 draws in 8 rounds in Division 1 A grade. I've never seen it. Obviously, both very tight competitions and very exciting. But I had 2 games I was looking at, but I've got to mention the other game. Henley, 40-point win over PAC. They lose their first game of the year. Things are all over the place.
On
I thought,
margin too.
Yeah, a big margin on a wet day. 4th versus 6th previewing, Old Iggy's versus Goodwood. I was like, Goodwood have to make their move now. It's time. All pre-season, all the hype, Cornsy's coming in, and Motlop, Motlop was very good, but they were no match for Old Iggy's. Old Iggy's 5-16, Goodwood 4-8. Eamon Cronin was best for Old Iggy's. Old Iggy's just really starting to say, hey, Goodwood aren't the team to watch. We might be the team to watch. I like the look of their list. And Modbury, again, another team that's clearly been underestimated. I didn't have them in the 5. I've got it wrong. Modbury taking on Broady, 2nd versus 3rd, and it was a 1-point thriller led by Peter Minavini. It was all Broadies as well. For once, Broadview, they've been the comeback kings, but they dropped this one. 4-5 to 2 goals in the last quarter by the Hawks. Got the job done, and a huge win for Modbury that sees them sort of cement 2nd place. What a week in Div 2.
Yeah, massive Division 2. It's definitely one to keep an eye on every week, the way it's going over there. Moving on to Division 1, I just did the game I was at. So Athelston, they're losing at half time. They found a way to win, even without Randa getting a goal. You know, the conditions don't suit him, but he was 2nd on the goal kicking list, didn't score a goal, and they found a way to win. Also, St. Peter's, not to end on a negative one, but that's 5 losses in a row for them. And they've been in a lot of matches, and they do have a lot of injuries, speaking to people at the game yesterday, but yeah, just caught my eye. Yeah,
that was the game I previewed, 6th versus 7th. The winner gets to go into the 5 if results went the way they thought. So, and that winner was Athelston. We previewed that heavily in the Division 1 report. Check it out. Jackson Boss was the star, a name I haven't mentioned this year. So well done to him. And Division 1 just starting to take a little bit of shape. But you can check that out, obviously, in our Division 1 wrap. Wow, mate, a lot of stuff caught our eye because it was a huge week again. Things like Smithfield getting their first win, PAC getting their first loss, draws all over the place. Yep. Adelaide Footy League, it's in good shape. Welcome back from the state game break. We'll be back next week with more What Caught Our Eye.
You've seen him around town. He walks with purpose. With only a short introduction, he leaves a lasting impression. This morning, he was a regular guy in a tee. Now, he's fitted with confidence.
It's Goal of the Week time between the posts. Thanks to Peter Shearer and Born to Build. Our Goal of the Week from last week is Zane Fiachi from the Broadview Footy Club. Let's have a look at that one. Now, we've been off for a couple of weeks thanks to the state game. Just a little refresher. Here it is, jack at filmingfooty.com.au. You see it, you send it, it's as easy as that. And now it's time for you to have a look at this week's nominations and vote with the corresponding emoji.
Pack forming now because of that situation. There's going to be a repeat stoppage. It comes out somehow. The kick from nowhere, the kick from the pack, and he finds a goal.
They go again. Pasco has done enough to him already. Surely not another one for the man. Cavallaro goes from, not from there.
AA is Adelaide's home of sport. Stephen Rowe and Tim Ginniver. Weekdays from 4. If it happens in the world of sport, you'll hear it on 5AA. Plus your calls and opinions on the topics that matter to you, setting the agenda for Adelaide. The 5AA Sports Show with Rowe and Timmy G. Listen on the 5AA Player app or online at 5AA.com.au. Always local, always passionate, and always sport. Only on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Welcome to Between the Posts. We've got a legion of Div 7 fans and we've got something for you in the 5AA Division 7. I've got our analyst in this week. We're going to have a good look at Division 7. Jad, take us for a drive, my friend.
Yeah, so we'll look at the ladder, we'll look at the results, and we'll have a little bit on each team because I like to make sure everyone gets included.
A little bit of love.
That's it, and yeah, we'll go through the ladder first. Sitting on top is Adelaide Lutheran 7-1. Fantastic so far for them. Central United in second with 6-2. The ladder as well is interesting. It's starting to take shape as well. Brahma Lodge 5-3. Mitchell Park and Hackham both sitting 4-4. West Croydon in 6, 3 wins and 5 losses. We'll do a bit about them as well later. Flinders Park and Smithfield round out the last 2 spots, but Smithfield getting their first win of the season, so congrats to them.
Flinders Uni, Flinders Park are in
Flinders
Div 2.
Uni,
But yes,
bad, yes.
I knew what you meant. Yes, we're going to have a real good look at Smithfield in a minute. Don't you worry about that. Stay tuned, Podsy, Tomo. We're going to give your boys some love. And you know, interestingly enough, their 2's one as well.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Good
Boxy
spot.
and the boys. Peter Crisp. So I checked it out. It was always good. It's good to see a team that's battled have that moment. So yeah. It's a long way back from the karaoke night a couple of weeks ago to a win, so maybe that was the secret. What we're going to look at this week's games, mate?
Yeah, so we'll start off with the first one. Mitchell Park 54, Adelaide Lutheran 78. Flinders Uni 40.
Slow down. Easy, big fella. So just on that one, interesting to note, Mitchell Park were actually up by 5 points at half time. So they certainly took it up to them. Matt Tasser was their best, but for Lutheran, those usual suspects sort of got the job done. Ronnie Rankin with another 3, Curry with 3, Joel Harrison was their best player. So Luthies looked like the real deal.
Yeah, for sure. No, they look really good. And I think they might have won some award this week.
Yes, very well coached. So yes, no, beautifully done there.
Flinders Uni 41 to Brahma Lodge 12-13. I didn't write the total by accident.
Yeah, no, that's it's Brahma Lodge by 7 goals.
Yeah.
Third place knocking off 7th place. You'd probably expect that. But for Flinders Uni, we'll give a bit of a shout out to Wallen who kicked 2, and Spring was their best player. Again, unless you have a close look at the game, they're actually up by 9 points at half time. So they certainly gave themselves a chance at home. But in the end, it was Brody Norman and young Deke Teefy, former North Adelaide junior, was their best players. And that man, Trent Payne, with 5 goals, just doing Trent Payne type things.
Easy. Another one, obviously we spoke a little bit about the result already. West Croydon 70 to 102 Smithfield. So they won, and they won pretty convincingly there. So well done to them. 6 goals to Bailey Thompson and 3 to Josh Sewer. So some big goal kickers as well.
Lockie Sullivan with 2. It is Panther time. Shout out to Ryan Foley from West Croydon. Kicked 8 of 10.
Yes.
That is a superb effort from Ryan. But they're a club at the moment, West Croydon. We'll start with them. 4 losses on the trot, and those losses have included losses to Flinders Uni and Smithfield, who hadn't won a game yet. But that's not the story. The story is Smithfield. Podsy and Tomo, the club, you see them. They're trying their hardest to get this club up and about. And look, I hope they're still partying now, and they probably are. So,
and the last result was on paper it was second versus fifth at the end of the round. But Central United 88 to Hackham 75. So Hackham really pushed them there to the end, but Central United too good in the end.
Yeah, Piddington with 4, Clusie and Hallenby the best for the units. It was second versus fourth before the game. This was Hackham's chance to put the big boy pants on. They a couple of complaints, we don't give them enough airtime, but so I predicted them to be third at the start of the year. They've just let me down a little bit. They slide to fifth. Luke Allen and Duet were very good, but they're just underachieving a touch for mine, Hackham. Mind you, not the easiest trips to make from Hackham to Central United and Hackham to Smithfield. Obviously, they have to go back the other way too. They're like the West Coast Eagles of the Adelaide Footy League. They packed the water bottle and passport for some of their trips, but didn't quite get the chocolates on the weekend.
Yeah, I did a Hackham game for the Anzac Day match. I think I mentioned last time, and it was a bit like that for me. It was about an hour and a half drive for me as well, but no, it was a great occasion and happy to be there for the Anzac Day.
Hey, we'll just get our wonderful producer Jack Jonathan to put up the leading goal kickers in the Division 7.
Yeah, so at the top is Trent Payne with 39, Ron Rankin from Adelaide Lutheran 36, Ryan Foley from West Croydon 32. I've got here 32 games and very, very good, obviously very good from him. And then Mac Fisher from
Mitchell Park
20, and Tom Swain Atkinson also 20. So a couple big goal kickers.
Yes, Tommy Swain Atkinson from the units. I like what the units are doing this year. Good blend there, what they've got going. Some good kids coming through, and well done to the units. Times in the best players, and there's been some standouts. So we'll just get them up for you. Jai Dooley, best on ground, 8 out of 8. I wonder how he'd be going in the medal. You'd suspect very good. And then 3 guys who've been in 3 times: Anthony Daish from Hackham, Trent Payne from Barmer Lodge, and Tassel from Mitchell Park. Whilst Dave Wilson from Adelaide Lutheran is one of the best footballers in the league, along with Rory O'Connell from the Hackham Hawks. Now, you're going to do a bit of a team-by-team analysis, Jad.
Yes.
Keeping in mind, in the pre-season, so I'm just going to hold us accountable here.
Okay, sure.
Your grand final team was West Croydon and Central United. I reckon you're half right. My grand final teams were Adelaide Lutheran and West Croydon. Unfortunately, West Croydon, after a strong start to the year, have gone from chocolates to boiled lollies. But Adelaide Lutheran and Central United certainly looked the goods.
Yes.
Take us through team by team, mate.
For me. Yeah, so we talked about Smithfield quite a bit already, but just wanted to say again, first win for the season, and hopefully more for them to come. For Adelaide Lutheran, their first loss, so they've a 7-1 record, their first loss came against Barmer Lodge by only 5 points. So despite having lost this season, it was only by the 5. They have 247 more scoring than any other team when you look at the ladder.
I think their percentage, I've got their percentage from round 6. It was 75 then. It probably has dropped a little bit, but that's no one's catching their percentage. Very healthy. And
they've conceded 137 less than anyone as well. So looking good to finish top. Congrats to them. We'll go through. I've got a bit of a random order here. So Barmer Lodge, they've lost 3 so far this season, but have beaten both of the top 2 teams. Interestingly enough, so that's
a weird form line, isn't it?
Yeah, they've just got to win the ones they're supposed to win, and they could definitely finish in those top 2 positions.
I think they have probably got the best forward in the comp in Trent Payne. Yeah. They've got guys like young Tifi, who was a very credentialed, very good footballer. They've got a decent midfield, so. Their best is absolutely dangerous, and maybe they could be a real smoky come September.
Yeah, for sure. They've just got to put it all together. For Central United, 6-2 record, obviously 57.73 percentage. Have only lost to the other 2 teams in the top 3, Adelaide Lutheran and Barmer Lodge. And again, if they need to find a way to beat those 2 teams when it comes to the finals. So that's the one I'll look out for in the coming weeks, because they haven't lost anyone else except those 2.
Yep.
Flinders Uni, so 2 wins, both from Smithfield and West Croydon. They need to try and sneak a few more from some of the other people in the other teams in the division to try and push up and try and challenge for finals, but 2-6 record might be a bit tricky.
Yeah, it makes it tough, doesn't it?
Yeah. Mitchell Park and Hackham, both with a 4-4 record, and they're separated by 0.31% difference in percentage. But one thing that I guess caught my eye, Mitchell Park has 2 players in the top 6 of the goal kicking, and that could be the difference. Macklin Fisher with 20 and Sonny McDonald with 19 goals. So that 0.31%.
Did you say Sonny McDonald?
Sonny McDonald.
Surely that's not the son of Luke or Nate McDonald. Oh my, how old am I? His old man, I think it's his old man, was a very, very good, hard-at-it footballer who I beat up once. No.
I love it when you hear a name.
Oh my God, I'm old. Yeah, I don't reckon we've given enough flowers to Mitchell Park this year. They've actually been pretty consistent. They did sneak into the 5 last year. They're now sitting 4th, 4-4, but even to be 5 points up over Luthies, it's a really solid effort. And I think they, again, they'll be there come finals now. I'm pretty confident of that. And they're dangerous. So, yeah, well done to the Lions out at Mitchell Park. And good luck to them for the rest of the year.
And the last team, quickly to do a bit of a deep dive on, West Croydon. They lost to Smithfield and they've lost to Adelaide Flinders Uni, but they've beaten Brahma Lodge and they've beaten Mitchell Park, that we just spoke highly of, those two teams. So if they can, again, win the ones they're supposed to win, and then when they sneak up through the others, they'll be good. And the other thing I noticed, they're the 3rd most points for, so their attack is very good, but they have the 2nd worst points against. So if they can fix up the defence, they'll go a long way.
Yes, someone certainly needs to turn the lights out on their season. But anyway, we move on. Should we have a look at this week's game, mate?
Yes.
I'll give you the game and you give me the tip and the analysis of the expert. Okay. They're coming off a win. Can they go back to back? They're at home. Hackham have to drive for about 2 hours to get there. It's Smithfield hosting the Hackham Hawks.
Yeah, a bit of momentum. You never know with this one, honestly. With the trip
Don't
and
look
everything.
at my tip.
I was going to go to Hackham anyway, but yeah, I think Hackham will win. But Smithfield, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, I'm not sure Smithfield will have a match up for Luke Allen. Young Ashby's going all right. They're obviously. Winning footy is good footy and you find confidence, momentum. They've kicked 15 goals, but yeah, I just think Hackham would be too good. Yeah. Next one, West Croydon, desperate for a win, chomping at the bit. But Brahma Lodge, who probably didn't start super quick at the start of the year, are starting to really find their range, and Brahma Lodge is starting to announce themselves. They've got to go to West Croydon, so it's not an easy trip, but I think they'll get the chocolates. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think Brahma Lodge will win. We talked about them needing to win the ones they're probably favourites for, so yeah, they should win here.
Yes. Next one, Adelaide Lutheran. Of course, you've probably seen it by now. Our coach of the week comes from Adelaide Lutheran. Will he lead his team over a win against Flinders Uni? I'd suggest a pretty big one.
Yes, I think they'll win as well.
Anything else?
Pretty straightforward, that one, I think.
Dave Wilson to be in the best players. Yeah. The other thing is Ronnie Rankin, obviously he's kicked 36, but they've got plenty of guys kicking goals. Yeah. It's not just Ron. And with him just kicking 3 on the weekend. And our last one, this is definitely game of the round, based on many things. It's at Mitchell Park. 4th place Mitchell Park host second place Century United. This is, and it's a bit of a theme we had in our club this week, it's time for Mitchell Park to put the big blue pants on this week and show the world that, right, we want to get out of Division 7, we want to go to Division 6. To do that, you've got to take a scout, you've got to do it now, in the middle of winter, and they're at home against Century United. Can they do it?
They can, I think.
Well, they can, but will they do it?
Yeah, I won't be tipping them, but I think they can.
No, they can't.
But no, I'll be picking Century United. I picked them for the grand final. I'll keep backing them. They're 6-2 record for a reason. But that is definitely the game of the round.
Yeah, I'm willing to admit I've probably got Mitchell Park should have been in my 5 and West Croydon shouldn't. But I think Century United is still too strong for me. Our Div 7 footballers love it. They love a special mention. Well done to all of you out there. Again, it is Panther Week on Between the Posts because you had a win, boys. Celebrate long, celebrate hard, and see if you can back it up next week against Hackham. Thanks for joining us, Jad. We'll be back in about 6 weeks again with another look at Div 7 as we get close to finals time then. Everything should be taking shape nicely.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting next time I come on. I think the ladder's starting to take shape, but by then we'll definitely know who's good and who's not.
I think the file will be locked in by then, but time will tell. All right, we'll be back with more Between the Posts. Between the Posts, I love this one. This is Coach of the Week time and it's an absolute beauty. Thanks to Jad Gosson from our Div 7 analyst who has helped select this one. And our Coach of the Week is Joe Duffield from the Adelaide Lutheran Football Club. What a story Joe has. He's in his second year as an A-grade coach. He's had 4 B-grade flags at Adelaide Lutheran. His strengths include being a great connector, and the lads love to play for him. For those of you who don't know Joe, and I've only just really started deep diving into his story, he has socials where he's known as the wheel coach. That's right, he does coach in a wheelchair. It's a great story of resilience, and at the moment his team is playing beautiful football. He deserves to be coach of the week. They're 7-1, and the world is Adelaide Lutheran's oyster. Good luck to Joe, and congratulations, you are our coach of the week.
Hey guys, it's Tegan back with your Round 8 BTR Excavations Division 1 Women's Recap. This week was full of surprises across the fixture, so let's get straight into it. First, we look at Goodwood Saints versus Tea Tree Gully at Tea Tree Gully. Tea Tree Gully took down Goodwood 41-29 with just a 12-point win. Goodwood fought strong, but unfortunately, Tea Tree Gully was just too strong for them and too good this round. Goodwood's best on was Alina Seeger, and Tea Tree Gully's was Astaria Wood. Goodwood goal scorers were Ava Bowden, who had 2, Annalise Size and Chloe Tarasenko, who both had 1. For Tea Tree Gully, Kaya Jaffa kicked 2, and Tamika Anderson, Laura Mitchell, Taylor Pearson and Lillian Thomas all kicked 1, really sharing it across the board. Next up, we had another close game with Happy Valley versus Morfettville Park. A bit of a low-scoring game, but Happy Valley came away with a 25-point win, the final score being 28-3. Although Morphees were not able to score, some players really stand out, one of them being Celestina Donner, who had their best on. For Happy Valley, Lauren Bugney won their best on. The goal kickers for Happy Valley were Ziva Nemeth and Emily Smith, who both kicked 2 each. A great win for Happy Valley, who are now sitting 3rd in the ladder, looking for another strong season ahead. Now, here's when things start to get interesting. Broadview vs Payneham at Broadview. We always knew this was going to be a tough game with 2 of the best teams in the competition. Ultimately, it was Broadview who came away with a 28-point win, with the final score being 41-13. Amy Jones for Broadview played a stellar game and came away with the best on for Broadview. Their goal scorers were also shared across the board. Abby Player had 2, Daphne Albanese, Remy Grant, Amy Jones, Chelsea Papalia all had 1. Paynham's best on was Amelia Patini, and goal scorers were Poppy Bernard and Kaylee Jeffries, who both had 1. Great news for Broadview as they are now sitting top of the ladder. Let's see if they can keep up their winning streak in the next few rounds ahead. Now, lastly, very interesting game here. We had Anglevale versus Henley all the way out at Anglevale Oval. Now, Anglevale is not a team to underestimate, especially after this week. They haven't been too successful in the last few rounds, losing by a few points each game. This only lit a fire underneath them, as they came away with a win against Henley Sharks by 16 points, 57-41. Anglevale's best on was Olivia Blacker, who played an amazing game throughout all 4 quarters. Goal scorers were Tamara Clampton, Vicky Farrelly and Brooklyn McKeever, who kicked 2 each. And then they also had Peyton Burgess, Brady Lukic and star coach Brittany Perry with 1 each. For Henley, best on went to Ellie Fixter, who spent the entire game out smashing it in the forward and the ruck. Henley goal scorers went to Tegan Dunbar with 4 and star player Fixter, Ellie Fixter with 2. Now that's it for this week's BTR Excavations Div 1 Women's Wrap. I'll see you guys next week, and let's hope that next week is full of surprises once again. Congratulations to Anglevale for breaking their streak. Hey guys, this is the Round 8 Women's What Caught Our Eye. In the Division 1 reserves, one game that really caught our eye was Happy Valley versus Morfettville Park. Morphettville, who have had a strong season all around, did end up winning against Happy Valley, but only by 8 points. Now, Happy Valley have won 2 games this season, and Morphettville have won 6. So the fact that Happy Valley only lost by less than 2 goals shows their improvement throughout the season, making other teams question themselves. And after this game, I would make sure no other teams in coming rounds underestimate Happy Valley, as this is a team that has bounced back and is ready to get another win. Now, in Division 2, we had a game that we'd all been waiting for, Hectorville versus Brighton Bombers. These 2 teams have been the stars of Division 2, and this game has been long awaited for. Prior to this game, Brighton Bombers were undefeated and looking pretty strong for the rest of the season. However, it was Hectorville who came out with a 44-point win against the Bombers, with the final score being 57-13. Hectorville played an amazing game and had a lot more in their forward entries, kicking 9 goals, where Brighton only kicked 1 goal 7. In Division 2 reserves, we saw a forfeit by Adelaide University against Hope Valley, giving Hope Valley an automatic 60-point win. But an even bigger win was by Port Districts when they won over Golden Grove 80-0. Although this was an absolutely massive win by Port Districts, they could have used this as a chance to even boost their percentage even higher. They kicked 11 goals 14. The 80-point win is still amazing. However, if they manage to overtake Brighton and the Flinders Park team, it may come down to their percentage. So it's pivotal that they are as accurate as possible to boost themselves and hold their position in second place on the ladder. In Division 3, we saw another forfeit with Modbury forfeiting against Glenunga. We also saw Mitcham versus Pembroke, with Mitcham continuing to dominate with another win under their belts. However, it was only just a 13-point win over Pembroke, who was sitting 4th on the ladder. Although Mitcham sitting first, their percentage is not overly strong with a percentage of 63. Goal scoring is something that has let them down slightly in the past, and this week they kicked 5 goals 11. In Division 4, we saw Plimpton come away with not really a surprising win since they've dominated all season long. Plimpton has the highest percentage in the division with a percentage of 91.41. Not even the division, maybe the entire women's league. Plimpton are by far the best team in the division and will be definitely going up next season if they keep it up. This is a team who is on the uprising and could be a future Division 1 team. Now, in Division 5, we saw 2 of our strongest teams, Walkerville versus Howden Districts, face off. Now, this season, they have been neck and neck with each other. Back in round 1, Howden Districts won against Walkerville by 44 points. However, 7 rounds later, Walkerville ended up winning by 10 points. A very close but low-scoring game. In Division 6, we saw some big wins. Para Hills were able to keep Salisbury North scoreless with a 37-0 win. West Croydon were also able to keep Smithfield scoreless, as well as the end score being 66-0. Now, Salisbury and Smithfield are sitting 7th and 8th on the ladder, and unfortunately for Smithfield, they haven't been able to get 1 win under their belt and have a percentage of just 5. Hopefully in the next coming weeks, they will be able to have a few more closer games and boost that percentage up a bit. For West Croydon, their win means that they are still undefeated in the comp and are dominating with a percentage of 87.47. Now, this division varies a lot regarding skill. However, West Croydon may be a team who are looking to win the finals, but Lockley's trailing behind them and trying to steal that top spot. Both teams have potential to move up to Division 5, but for now, both teams have to fight for this first spot on the ladder. That is all for this week's What Caught Our Eye in the Women's Division. I'll see you guys next week for round 9.
All right, Jad, what a show. It's been great to have you on Div 7 and obviously Div 1 and all the other segments. Have you had some fun, mate?
Yeah, it's been great here at the Moseley, beautiful venue, but also nice weather outside. Might go for a walk on the beach after. And you could do the same when you come here.
Yes, of course, they've got the igloos outside now.
Yeah.
I guess they're warm or something. I don't know. Yeah. But it's a wonderful location. And just quite, it would be remiss of me not to mention, I'm going out for my wife's birthday today. We got married just in the rotunda behind us there, and there were some drinks in here that day at the Moseley. And still going strong 14 years later, but a great pub, great venue, and you could do worse. Got a nice upstairs area as well. It's great for functions and meals and so forth. So get on down. Thanks to all our great sponsors in the RD Jones Group. I think we've mentioned it already this week. Big game for you, Golden Grove and the Raggies.
Yes, very keen for that one. Both teams who are kind of flying at the moment. Golden Grove looking to continue, and Ruggies as well coming off a win.
I'm going to put you right in the spot right here, right now. I don't do this, but I'm doing it today. Div 7 winner.
It's hard to look past Adelaide Lutheran at the moment. 7-1. Coach of the week this week, flying in all aspects, and I'll go for Adelaide Lutheran.
So there's to lose.
Yeah,
I agree. Adelaide Lutheran. Division 1 Premier.
That's it. That's a bit more tricky. That's a bit more tricky. A bit more even at the top. I'll just.
You've seen them all, so
I'll just stick saying to Port District until they prove me wrong. I know it's they're third at the moment, but once they get players back and they know how to win in finals, so I'll stick with them for now. But that's a much more harder question.
It is. I haven't done this before, and I didn't plan it, and we haven't spoken to each other about it. But I agree with you as well. Port District. So. And we know stuff. So, hey, it has been great. Thanks to everyone who watches the show and supports the show. Remember, get on and vote for those marks and goals of the week. Send them in, help us out. Obviously, we're not a huge crew, so the more people we have sending us stuff just adds to the quality of the show, and get to see your face or your mate's face, and he might even win a $100 Petty Shearer voucher, a $1,500 thing at the end of the year. Plenty of prizes, and so thanks to everyone that supports our great show. It is a great show, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Talking about local footy, good production, good cameraman, everything like that. So,
is it worth the 6 a.m. alarm every Sunday morning?
You're up every Sunday. I'm only on every now and again. So I'll let you answer that.
No, I appreciate you filling in for Jack Banwell. Obviously, he's the most well-paid guy on the show because he's over the World Cup, isn't he?
Yes.
Oh, how about that? Anyway, this is a footy show, so forget about that game. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week with more
Between the Posts.